What did you think of when you heard that Anthony Richardson was getting benched, Jordan?
Paying attention to it for sure, because there's a couple of elements here. One, let's look at it this way. Let's look at Anthony, and then let's look at Shane Steichen, and then let's look at the current opportunities for the Indianapolis Colts with whoever's playing quarterback for them. As far as Flacco is concerned, my only take on him is put him in a good situation, and you'll get what you got last year, which I believe was comeback player of the year. So that doesn't change. That's not part of the equation as far as I'm concerned. We know what Joe is and what he can do, and he's motivated and has played at a high level recently, not back in Baltimore, but recently. But with Anthony, he's selected fourth, and I believe he only started 12 games in college. So, and if I'm off, I'm only off by a couple of games on that. This was not Brock Purdy with 40-something starts or Bo Nix with 61 starts, right? And so he really hasn't played the position. And it's ironic coming from somebody like me that trains quarterbacks in the offseason a lot. I believe the best way to get better at playing football is by playing football. So it's a little bit of it's tricky because he needs to develop, but clearly the team thinks the priority is the team winning right now, and that Joe gives them the best option to do that. But the problem is everyone drafts for the future. It's why you take somebody at 4, or you trade from 9 to 1 to take somebody at 1. You're doing it for the future, and you're willing to go through the growing pains, if you want to use that term, in the short term, for a better future and a bigger outcome. And so this is one of the trickiest ones because obviously he has not played great, but he also has made plays in each of these games. I mean, the slip at the top of his drop, throw it 68 yards on a post route versus Houston, you can't just buzz past that play, right? And not factor it in. So the ceiling, I don't think, has changed with Anthony. I just think they thought the floor would be higher. And so absolutely going to stunt his development and going to overcomplicate a situation that's already complicated when you're the 4th pick and asked to play early. The second thing is Shane Steichen. So here's what I know about Shane Steichen. I know him personally, but here's what I know from a resume perspective. He's with LA for 1 year in Justin Herbert and has a historic rookie year. He goes to Philly and we see the best version of Jalen Hurts, gets a giant contract, plays in the Super Bowl. And then he goes to Indy. And so if I look backwards on Shane Steichen, personally, I go, well, that's not the problem. He's got a track record. He didn't get lucky with one guy. He's done it at multiple places. And so with Shane, I go, regardless of who, and I don't know who exactly is making the final decision here, right? But in terms of Shane's ability to get a quarterback ready to play and get the most out of him, I just think he's got a track record of proving that. And then the third one is the team. And this is I think the most compelling point here is you bet on right now. And I think you do this and you go with Joe. If you think you have a chance to run a Super Bowl, you think you have a chance to really make a run deep in the playoffs. Now, it doesn't really matter if I think the Colts do or not, but clearly they do by making this decision. And so you can only afford to not win now and plan on the future if you can't win now either way. But it appears that they think they can win now with Joe Flacco. And I haven't watched him enough to have an opinion on it, but I'm definitely going to be watching him now, because if this is a season that goes as good as it can possibly go and they miss the playoffs or they get eliminated first round, then this is going to look like a waste and a decision that they're probably going to want back. And they're going to probably have rather swap that out for 8 or 9 more games of getting Anthony Richardson better at football.
So you're right in that the only way that you can get better at playing football is to actually play football. And last year he had 13 games where he could watch the football games being played and seeing what it's like from there. And that's why everybody thought that the floor would be higher this year, is because he did have that last year of being able to, he got his feet wet a little bit and then got a chance to sit back and see how it's all done from a planning perspective and then a play calling perspective and everything else. And now he's being told to sit and watch again based on ineffectual play. And the question I have for you is this now delays till year 3? Because I don't think Flacco's going to do anything but play well, and that they will be in a race for a 7th or a 6th seed or something like that. And thus he will finish the rest of the season, in my estimation. right? So now it's going to be year 3 to figure out what the floor and the ceiling is for Anthony Richardson, right, Jordan? Because what else is he going to do, right?
That's the problem. And so, one of two things is going to happen in our opinion. It sounds like Joe Flacco is going to play well, or Joe Flacco is going to get hurt. And if Anthony goes back in the game because he's the 2 filling in for the injured starter, that's not the same thing, right? That's not, he's playing, but he's playing on a very different pretense. And so at the end of the year, let's say that happens, right? They're the number 6 seed. They win the AFC South, and they go and then they get eliminated by Buffalo in the first round or whatever. Let's say that plays out. You're going to sign Joe Flacco to a long-term contract. And so it's the same situation, not the same, but it's a similar situation that the Browns were in last year when Joe played great. And so, I think it delays it to year 3. And now you have to, I just think this is going to be one of the more complicated QB situations in the NFL for the next, 6 to 18 months because of this decision that was made right now. Now I want to make sure I make this point. For a lot of people don't know much about Anthony Richardson. A couple things that I do know about him: he does not have work ethic problems. He does not have study habit problems, and he for darn sure does not have talent problems. And so this is really an experience thing and playing more football. And there's certain picks. I always say this to quarterbacks. There's certain picks you got to throw to know you can't throw that ball. Like, coach can tell you don't throw it late over the middle. At some point, you got to throw in late over the middle for it to burn into your memory that I can't do that. I can't make that throw. I can't fit that one in there. And that's, unfortunately, as I think about Anthony and his development, that's what you miss out on when you're not out there. And I don't believe that all experience or any experience is good experience, but I have seen rough times be great experience for guys. Last time I was on your show, we spent a lot of time talking about Sam Darnold. I think a lot of the reasons he's playing so well right now is a lot of the hard times that he went through. And so I don't think it all translates, but experience is better than not having it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.